your child support information show, or whatever it is that we're going to be calling this going forward. I'm really excited to be talking to you guys tonight because of the show that I have planned for you, which is all about family court. But first, before we dive into that, and I'm really, really excited, I have to tell you, I just want to go ahead and do a little bit of introductions because this is, the show is new. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with who I am or what I've been doing over the past 20 years in this space of helping people to collect child support. So I always like to start the show a little bit with some information about me, a little bit of background, just so that you know who it is that you're talking to. So just like you, I was a mom with a child support collection problem a very long time ago, over 2 decades, figured out my solutions and started to help other women. And eventually, what I just did was I opened up a storefront on a busy street and just started consulting with women. And I did this for over 20 years. Speaking engagements, 3 books, and many, many experiences working in just about every state in the country has allowed me to come to this place of having an enormous amount of experience. I've helped over 10,000 women personally to collect more than $15,000 when I was working at $15 million when I was working as a consultant. Big difference between 15,000 and 15 million. I did the big one. And so what we have done now is we have built a company, a tech company, which is now automating this process and designed to assist moms and help them to bypass things like family court and know exactly what's going on with them in family court, so that they can take control of their cases and actually get to the end of collections, whether it's they're trying to collect from a dad who's a 1099 or created a shell company or is hiding assets with girlfriend or mom or brother or business partner, whomever. I've seen it all. I've worked through it all. I've helped women to collect through all of that madness. So that's just a little bit of background about me. That's really Googleable. Google me, find out all the great information that you want to know. Because I want to focus on getting to the meat of the show. This particular show is really important to me because what I've been hearing over all the years that I've been doing this work, and it hasn't changed, which is the reason why I want to talk about this, is, people keep coming back to, and you'll frequently hear me say mom or women, and there's no diss against dads who are sitting in the same seat that, we have sat in all of these years trying to collect. It's just that usually it's women, and so I always default to women. So dads, if you have this problem, you're welcome to join in. This information is for you too. But what I have heard over all of the years, just over and over again, something that prevents people from moving their case forward and figuring out what needs to be done to help them get to the end game and get their money, is that they're still sitting back and they're waiting for child support enforcement to help them. So in their mind, child support enforcement is that entity. They are the place. It is those people who are paid with our tax dollars to help them to collect their money. And by gosh, they're going to do their job. And if they're not doing their job, I'm just going to sit back and wait until they do their job. And people always come back and they say, but I'm talking to child support, and why isn't child support enforcement helping me? And woe is me. And the thing that I'm trying to drive home right now is you're not wrong. First of all, you're not wrong. So absolutely, these systems were put into place. And while they weren't designed for us, while they were not designed, they were never designed with the purpose and intention collect our money. That's not what they were built to do. That's another story because we only have a half-hour show here. They did include the collection of unpaid child support at some point. So however they were designed and whatever their original intent was, eventually they got to the point where the collection of child support did become part of their thesis. Now, they're failing at that miserably. We all know that they're failing at that because there's $118 billion that's reported. And we all know that there are millions of dollars that are just not reported because they're not tracked by the government. So there's a lot of money that's past due. And what I'm trying to do today is to get to the chase of why this is happening to you. why this is happening to you, because I am of the firm belief that until you are able to wrap your brain around what's actually going on, you're not going to be able to fix your own personal situation, because that is going to be the thing that makes you go, uh-huh, okay, so then what do I need to do now? Because if you keep going to that same well and the well is still dry and you still go there over and over again, you're never going to get water. So one of the things that I posted in one of the groups today that I'm an admin of is that, Albert Einstein, one of my favorite sayings by him is that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different kind of result, right? Because that's exactly what a lot of you are doing right now. You're continuing to go back to child support. You're continuing to make the same old phone calls. You continue to make the same old complaints. And then eventually you become frustrated and you walk away from the table, leaving your money. Now, I have a big problem with that because that money is owed to us and our kids, to make sure that we all have the lives and quality of lives that we're supposed to have. So I have a big problem with people getting so frustrated that you feel that your only choice is to walk away, because that money is rightfully yours. And so that's the basis of everything that I have worked for and built for over 20 years, to make sure that not just me, but everybody like me can get through this. So let's start getting to the meat and potatoes of it. Okay, so first of all, what we're about to do in the few minutes that we have is I am going to work with you to help you to challenge the perceptions that you have about family court, and whatever you think that they mean to you and what they're supposed to be doing for you. So that's what this entire show is about for you today. And if you have questions, go ahead and pop them up, because we will be taking questions towards the end of the show. All right, so challenging what you think child support is supposed to be doing for you. So, the way most of us have been geared to think about how child support is supposed to work, child support, family court is supposed to work. Most of us have in our minds that, we fill out this paperwork, we file it, we go to court, and that when we're in court, if it's an enforcement motion, because we're talking about back child support, because that's what me and my company focus on, back child support, the unpaid, the 118 billion. So you go to court, you present your evidence. You present your evidence to the person who's going to be making that decision. And in this case, it's a judge or administrative officer. We'll get to that in just one second. But you're going to be presenting your evidence. And logically, the way that we are taught to think about a court process, and this is family court, logically, we present our evidence, and the person who is viewing the evidence and analyzing the evidence is going to look at the evidence that you have presented. And your evidence might be something like, you're owed $30,000 in unpaid child support. The person who owes you this money has assets, or is pretending not to have assets, but drives a fancy car, lives in a big house, has motorcycles, antique cars, whatever the case, goes on vacations. I've even known one who sends postcards to his ex saying, "Hey, I'm in Hawaii, happy you're not here." Straight up narcissist. But the person who's viewing this evidence is going to say, "Hey, you owe $30,000 in unpaid child support. The law says that you have to pay this money. And so we need to know where you're working, bring in your proofs. Let me see your bank accounts. Let me see your assets. We're going to get to the bottom of this because you have to pay this debt to your ex for the benefit of your children. I don't care what your story is. Let's get it paid because your kids have to eat." This is what we imagine happen. That eventually evidence gets produced, the truth prevails, and eventually somehow the person that owes you the money is going to pay, because that person is going to see that you are right and the other parent is wrong, and they ought to be paying you because look at the results of what they're, of them not paying you. Look at what's happening. Your kids aren't getting to go to extracurriculars, and they have to talk about a private school, and you lost your house. And so somebody behind that desk is going to say, we're going to do this and we're going to make this right. And the truth is that that's not the way the system is set up. So the truth is that, as most of us know, there's no trial by jury. So there's no set of people who are going to collectively come together and look at this evidence and say, yeah, this person is wrong. Let's make him do what he's obligated to do. There's one person who's going to be making that decision. Depending on where you live and how your court systems are set up, it's going to be a judge, or maybe it's going to be a hearing officer, but there's going to be one person, and it's set up, differently in different states. The Attorney General's office. There's going to be one person who's making this decision for you, who's going to be looking at this paperwork and making this decision. Sometimes in some areas, there are also offices that are administrative offices. Sometimes they're called administrative units that assist with the decision making on how this whole thing is going to play out. Now, the problem is that lots of cases, this is all very time consuming. It's all very complicated. It's all very hard. There's a lot of work to do. And so what ended up happening along the way is that people were brought into the process to help that decision maker make the decisions that they have to make. So that decision maker is not rendering their opinion based on all the research that they have done personally. That decision maker also brings in other people at times, right? So a lot of you will know exactly what I'm talking about. So sometimes we have mental health providers brought into the process. Sometimes we have other attorneys that are brought in to render certain facts and opinions in cases. Sometimes there are mediators. But what's important to remember is that these are all fee-driven assists. And so at this point, at this juncture, the whole system has run amok. It's run amok because people have figured out how to jack the system, how to use the system, for their own benefit, not just in driving fees for themselves and their own organizations and companies, but they have figured out that there's ways to also push special interests with certain cases that they want to see come out a certain way. So sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but there's a lot of that's going on in the court system. The court system is not run by a justice department, which would be a department that is more interested in following the letter of the law. The family court system is more so run by the Department of Health and Human Services, which operates more like a social service agency. And so they want to make everything nice. They want to make everything right. They want to make things go away. And the only reason why I share this with you now is because the thing that you have to switch in your head is that this is not a system of justice. This is not a system of what's right and what's wrong. This is a system of let's make things go away. Let's brush things under the table. Let's make it as easy and as nice as possible to get out of the courtroom and get the next case. They're very good with low-hanging fruit. Somebody owes you $300 a month. I'm making these numbers up. Somebody owes you $300 a month. They have a job, garnish the paycheck. But as soon as you get to points of contention, when somebody's working under the table or in a cash-based business or doing any of these nefarious things that we all know that they do, working under somebody else's social security number, using their brother's name, that's when the system is just going to break down, and it's not going to be as helpful to you as we would hope that they would be. And what you're going to have to figure out that eventually is that you can keep going to court. You can get contempt of court charges. You can request bench warrants. Sometimes they'll be arrested, sometimes they won't be arrested. Sometimes they'll be arrested and they'll allow them to pay a purge payment, and he can owe you $15,000 and get out of court, out of jail, paying a $25 purge payment. We all know people who have been there, right? So these things can happen. You can complain to your caseworker. You can be that squeaky wheel. I've always written about the squeaky wheel in my books. The squeaky wheel is the way to go. Squeaky wheels are all good things. And so you can be that squeaky wheel. And you will get attention. You'll get more attention than the next person gets. But there's something else that you're going to have to do in order to move your case forward. And I'm going to tell you that in just 1 second. We have a question that just came up, and we're going to start taking questions now. So let's do this. I'm going to take this mom's question, and then I'm going to get back to it, and I'm going to tell you what it is that you are going to have to do to actually begin to move your case forward. All right, because I got the news and I got the information for you. I got the goods. I got the goods. All right, so mom says that she lives in Pennsylvania. She says that when dad gets his garnishment, he quits his job. Dad's state is not working with her state. He knows how to plays the system by job hopping. Okay, so what's really interesting, and that just happened today, as a matter of fact, is that in one of my groups, somebody posted something very similar to this, and it could have been this mom. I don't even know, but it could be this mom. It could be another mom, but it's something that happens all the time. But somebody posted exactly that as a truck driver, a dad job hops, and they go from job to job. As soon as the garnishment hits, they go someplace else. What's even more interesting is that I was having a conversation also today with a potential investor in the company, who was telling me that his interest in the company is that he grew up with parents in this situation. And in addition to that, he also knows somebody who ran a trucking company, and they were having a conversation, and they were saying exactly that they had a high turnover of truckers. And when they tried to figure out, well, what the heck was going on, they figured out really fast that the reason was because these truckers would quit their jobs as soon as the punishment hits. Now, the thing about it is, I don't know why I'm getting all this trucker chat today from mom, this investor, the mom in the group. It's like really weird that all this trucker stuff is going on. But it's, the thing about it is, it's not just truckers. They do job hop. They will do that. If there is a particular industry where it's easy for them to get a job, and they don't think they're going to have a hard time, doing that, they'll quit their job and go someplace else. And it's not just truckers. I don't know why everybody's talking about truckers today, but it's not just truckers. There's a lot of industries where dads will do this kind of thing. But this is actually connected directly to what I was about to say when I was going to tell you about what you need to do to fix your situations when you're trying to battle against family court and you're not getting anywhere. If you're battling with family court, whether you never went through family court in the first place, because not everybody takes their case through family court. Excuse me. But it's the same answer. And that answer is that you're going to have to become more proactive. And it's not proactive in terms of, harassing child support. You can always harass child support if your case is with them. I mean, it maybe they'll help you out. Sometimes it happens that, they'll get something done for you. What's going to happen more than not is you're going to get, his driver's license pulled. You're going to get his passport pulled. You might get a bench warrant. Might get him arrested, and he might pay a payment. But you're going to go into this circle. It's going to be a hamster wheel. It's going to be the same thing over and over again. And that's part of a strategy that I have written about, and I call it becoming battle weary, is that they want to get you on the hamster wheel because they want to make you tired. They want to make your head hurt. They want to make you feel that chasing these dollars are not worth it anymore. and they want to just make you go away, and they will do this, and they will drag it out, and they'll drown you in paperwork. And it's a strategy. Make no mistake that they know that they know exactly what they're doing. So um these strategies that I years and that I have built into the product that we have now with the company that I have now, as opposed to when I was a consultant, is that what you have to wrap your brain around is that you have to decide that enough is enough, and that you are going to manage your case yourself. Now, before you run and hide and call me crazy, yeah, you can do it. So first of all, I think that we all know, if you're here, you're listening to one of these groups, you're probably a well-researched mom, and you know that you have the right under the law to represent yourself in court. You have the right under the law to represent yourself and collect your own child support money. And that is what we do. We have built systems and processes to help moms do this. So, what I know, and I know this because not only did I do it myself, because I was in the game myself trying to collect, but again, for 20 years, I helped moms on a one on one basis to do this. What I know is that, we're over busy, we are overwhelmed, we are just overextended. And so the last thing that we need is to have something else to be put on our plate, right? So we might be working one or two jobs. I know a lot of moms that work two jobs just to make ends meet. And you're cooking dinner and you're helping your kids with their homework, and you just came in from soccer practice, and now you have to sit down and try to figure out what the heck you're going to do with this child support thing, right? It's just easier sometimes just to make another call to your caseworker, or write another email to your caseworker, right? And see if you could just keep pushing it and pushing the ball and pushing the ball. But eventually it's going to just wear you out. So what we've done is to create systems that help you to push your ball down and give you a lighter lift, so that you have to do less of that. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that. Google University is an amazing thing these days. There's a lot of information that you can just find out there, if you know what to find and how to look for it. There are books that you can use. I started out writing books myself, and a lot of moms were able to take, my words and run with them, and help them to collect. Both of these are things that you still have to put work into and energy into. And if that's where you are, that's what you want to do, run with it, because, I'm the first person to say that no matter how you get it done, just get it done. And then there are other ways that you can do it. You can hire people to find them for you. You can hire assets. That's something that we have also built into our product that we do for you. But at the end of the day, however you do it, however it's going to work for you, because we're all in different stages in our lives, and we have different things and tools and resources available to us. So we could some of us have money that we can use to hire a lawyer. Now, that's a whole other show, because there are things that you need to know about that. So some of us have money to do that ourselves, or we can borrow money from our family or friends, or get a loan from our company, or wait for our child support, our tax return check to come and take money and do that. So those are options. And some of us don't have any of that, right? So what do you do when you don't have that many options? So all I'm saying to you is that I don't care how you do it. Doesn't matter whether you you do it slowly and piece by piece, and you Google University, the whole dang thing. Doesn't matter if you look for a book on the matter that will give you all of the information that's going to walk you through check out mine first, of course, deadbeat versus dead broke. I see another mom come up. I'm going to take this question in a second. Another question. Doesn't matter if you do it that way. Doesn't matter whether you onboard to our products, which, if you want to go check out our website at don'tgetmadgetpaid.com, it's an amazing product, if I say so myself. All I'm saying is that if you keep going to child support, hey, my question disappeared. My producer, please, can you pop that up again? Thank you. If you keep going to child support, you're still not going to get anywhere fast. That much I can, for the most part, promise you. Especially if you have a case where he's under the table, or he is using one of those systems of non-banking, like the PayPal and the Venmo and the Apple Pay and all the online banks. They do that kind of stuff, and child support, is just not going to care. I'm sorry, they're not going to do that work for you. If there's anybody out there who can reach out to me and tell me that child support actually went and found non-banking accounts and then debit those accounts, I'll write you a check for $500 and put you on my show. I'm putting that out there because I know that there's nobody out there that can tell me that happened and can provide the proof that it happened, because they don't do it. So mom, she writes, her case just changed states and jurisdictions. New state adopted the old order. Does the judgment for child support arrears also transfer? You will have to get a transfer, a foreign registration for your case. So state number 2 cannot enforce an order for state number 1. For the judgment from state number 1 has to be incorporated into state number 2 in order for them to be able to do anything with it. It's kind of like, I live in state A, you live in state B, and I want to punish you for something, and you don't live in my state, so I can't punish you. I can only punish you. So the only way to do that is to bring you to my state, and then I can punish you. It's kind of like under criminal law when you have to extradite somebody. It's kind of like the same thing. Your judgment has to be extradited, in other words, to the other state. So it has to be transferred. So if there are any other questions, come through now. So this was the whole show that I wanted to share with you guys today, because I think it's really important. This mom was just talking about transferring her judgment from one state to another. The child support enforcement sometimes will drag their heels on things like that. If you go to any of my groups, you'll find moms complaining about how child support will even lie to you about your case. Some moms have been saying recently that the newest thing is that they're lying to you about your interest, that if you work your case for yourself, you cannot collect on the interest. And that's just one of the boldest faced lies ever. That's a state law. They can't change the state law for their benefit. But yeah, so this is the state of things as they are. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the good news is that if you start to wrap your brain around the fact that this process as it is right now may not work for you, and that you might have to up the ante and do some more things on your own, and take matters to your own hands and find him yourself, and find his assets yourself, and then place liens on those assets, I'm telling you, you are golden, because it works like a charm and they don't see it coming. And that's the best part. This is Simone Spence. Again, I am the CEO and founder of Don't Get Mad Get Paid. Thanks for joining the show tonight.